Spirit-filled or anointed, and it doesn't seem. And I tell you what, folks, when you go to church and you leave and you get nothing out of it, and you feel no better than when you walked in the door, something's wrong. Something's wrong. And I'm the kind of guy that when I get up and I get to church, I want to leave here feeling much better than when I walked through the front doors. And I want to feel like, as an old fellow told me a few weeks ago, he said, I feel like I've been to church today. Amen. Anybody with me? You want to feel like you've been to church. And, I see such an epidemic across our land, and I've experienced it. I've been asked times to come and preach different places. And I tell the story about several years ago before Grace that I was asked to come and preach at a church. And I went, and I tell you, Brother Lord, you know what I'm talking about here. I felt like there was a rope, a noose around my neck. It seemed like the more I tried to get breath, the tighter it got. And I was like, oh my, and I just started praying, Lord, help me, help me, help me, help me. And Lord, being faithful has never let me down. And I tell you, it was just a struggle. It was tough. And I'll never forget it, and I'll never forget my mother. My mother's, this is outside the norm for my mother. But my mother met me in the parking lot. She said, please tell me you're not coming back tonight. I said, no, Mom. She said, that was kind of rough. She said, I felt it for you. And there was just no spirit, no anointing, no flowing in the building. And we're going to look today at the Spirit-filled church, and we're going to look at a couple different places here in Acts, and we're going to jump into Revelation, where it talks about us leaving a first love. But here we're going to look at where in the day that how the Holy Ghost came and filled on the day of Pentecost, and how it swept through the room, and how it absolutely consumed everybody. And we're going to look at that in the Spirit-filled church. We got many churches today that are asleep, and they need to be awakened. I'm telling you. I know sometimes folks, the preacher get long-winded every now and then. My eyelids get a little heavy. And I ain't preaching on nobody for sleeping, okay? So, please, if you're guilty, that's fine. I find myself, I'm getting older now, and I can't sit down and watch television just for a few minutes before what happens. I'm snoring in the recliner, and Phyllis is grabbing the TV remote, and I said, I was watching that. How many of you guys are guilty of that? Thank you. The rest of you can think on that for a while. Now she's got past that now. She just goes in the other room and turns the TV on, and then I'll wake up later and I'll say, oh, I missed the good part. Because I nodded right off. But, I have that problem staying awake. But we're going to look at staying awake, being awakened spiritually. Amen? Because there's a lot of folks today that have nodded off, and I got sleep apnea. I found that out a few years ago. Anybody here got sleep apnea? And dealt with it and gone to the doctor, and they wire you up and all that stuff and glue stuff in your head, and you sleep all night long, and then they tell you how many times your legs kicked and how many times your mouth was open and all that kind of stuff, And I found out a few years ago I got sleep apnea. And I just blew it off. I'm too fat, okay? I said, I need to lose some weight. If I lose weight, I have to get rid of that. But some of us got spiritual apnea, amen? We need to come out of that. Amen. So we're going to look here today, a Spirit-filled church. What the word says here in Acts chapter 2. And it says, and when the day of Pentecost was fully come, they were all with one accord in one place. Now we're going to come back to that. And suddenly there came a sound from heaven as of a rushing mighty wind, and it filled all the house where they were sitting. And there appeared unto them cloven tongues like as of fire, and it set upon each of them. And they were all filled with the Holy Ghost and began to speak with other tongues as the Spirit gave them utterance. Now we're going to look here at how the Holy Ghost came and presented itself and how it came into the room. These guys had been waiting. The apostles were waiting in the upper room for the Spirit. There were about 120 of them, different people in this first service, and they had waited somewhere around 10 days. Now, in our day and age of lack of patience, many of us certainly couldn't have waited 10 days, could we, Lord? You know, and I speak many times about impatience. You know, my impatience gets tried at the wonderful place right up the road on the right called Walmart. You know, when you walk in there, and I try to time my shopping to where I think there won't be a lot of people there, and every time that I do that, I come in and there's 28 of us with our hands like this full of it, and there's two blessed little checkout ladies. And I'm thinking, oh boy. I told the guys in the oil change section, take the express off the wall. They said, why? I said, there's nothing express back here. Every time I show up, you say it's 3 hours. So our impatience. But here, these guys had waited about 10 days. They were waiting for something amazing to happen. And here's what the word says. They were all with one accord in one place. Now I'm going to tell you something. There's the key. In one mind, one accord, one place, everybody together, team all together, unified as one. Not just one of us, not somebody drilling holes in the boat, but all of us in one mind and one accord, and they were in that place and they were waiting for the Holy Ghost to appear. Patiently waiting. And the word says, this ain't Gerald, this is what the word says. It says, there came a sound from heaven as of a rushing mighty wind. Preacher, do you really believe that? Oh, yes, I do. And it said it filled all of the house where they were sitting. You know what amazes me? There's times that I have felt the presence of the Lord in this building so heavy that it's almost like you could cut it and shovel it. It's almost like it's just dripping off the ceiling. And I think to myself, why can't everybody in the house feel this? Why can't everybody get a dose of this? Because this is greater than anything you could get down here on the corner. It's greater than anything that you could get handed out the drive-through window at the bourbon barn, wherever. It's greater than anything that you could buy down here off of whoever. It's greater than it all.